Hey y'all, happy Thursday. So I want to pick right up where we left off yesterday, in that David, knowing his covenant so personally with God, and Goliath wasn't able to get into David's mind like he was the other soldiers. And we could argue that, well, the other men had been out there for 40 days. They had been doing this same thing for 40 days. Yes, but the very first time that David heard Goliath, he said, "Who is this man that would defy the armies of the living God? What shall be done for the man that defeats him?" I mean, he was so confident. And let's go there. So 1 Samuel 17, and verse 20. So David rose up early the next morning, left the sheep with the keeper, took provisions, and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the encampment as the host was going forth to the battleground, shouted the battle cry. And Israel and the Philistines put the battle in array, army against army. David left his packages in the care of the baggage keeper, and he ran into the ranks and came and greeted his brothers. As they talked, behold, Goliath, the champion, the Philistine of Gath, came forth from the Philistine ranks and spoke the same words as before, and David heard him. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him terrified. Natural vision creates fear. Okay? And the Israelites said, "Have you seen this man who has come out? Surely he's come out to defy Israel, and the man who kills him, the king will enrich with great riches and will give him his daughter and make his father's house free from taxes and service in Israel." And David said to the man standing by him, "What shall be done for the man who kills the Philistine and takes away the reproach of Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that should defy the armies of the living God, of Jehovah?" See, when David said that uncircumcised Philistine, remember we talked about this last week, he was saying he is not one of God's people. He is not acting on behalf of God. And, again, we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. But Goliath was not following the Spirit of God. He was following the sons of disobedience. So, uncircumcised, he was not in covenant with God. So David was quite confident in his ability through Jesus, or through God, because at this time Jesus was not here yet, but he was confident in God's ability to keep his covenant with Israel. So it didn't take 40 days. The first time David heard him, he said, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine?" We cannot allow the enemy 40 times. I want you to think about that. And as I'm talking, I'm making mental notes of things that I need to go back and meditate on. Because when the enemy says it one time, that's when I need to say, who is this enemy that would dare try to exalt itself above the word of God? When I come in contact with a circumstance or situation, bad news, a problem, an issue, whatever, when I come up against it, or when Satan poses a thought in my mind, my very first response should be, "How dare you, Satan? You vain imaginations. How dare you, circumstance of this world, try to exalt yourself above the word of God, which says," and then you begin to use the word of God as a weapon. But I can't allow that 40 times twice a day. I cannot allow the enemy that much access into my thought life, that much presence in my mind. I cannot do it. And you look what happened to the Israelite army. Again, same covenant as David. But they allowed the enemy to come in, and they allowed that enemy to come in to post himself against their army and to parade himself back and forth day and night, declaring his victory. When David said, "Who is this that defies the armies of the living God?" We cannot allow the enemy that much space. We'll pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye.